Making live calls. You might just hear from him if you do call into the helpline. And our special guest tonight is former dark web con artist turned good guy for the FBI, Brett Johnson. And 5 lucky on-air callers will win a Yeti cooler tonight. If you're caller number 2, 5, 7, 9, or 11, you will be a winner. That number one more time if you want to grab a pen, 877-283-7570. Our phone lines are open, and first up tonight is William of Oregon. Thanks for joining us, William. Go right ahead. Okay. William, are you there? All right. Well,
oh, yes, I am.
There you are.
Let me take you off. Let me take you off speaker. Okay. There, I had to take you off speaker. I had a problem. I rarely would ever fall for a scam, but this one really threw me one morning. I got an email and said that it was from Publishers Clearinghouse and had a confirmation number and 2 800 numbers to call, and it said that I had won. And so I called one of the 800 numbers, gave them the number and confirmation number, and then was talking a little bit, and it didn't quite sound legit. The guy's English wasn't real well, so I asked him if he was in America, and he goes, yeah, Publishers Clearinghouse. I'm like, no, are you in America? Are you in America? And the guy hung up on me. But everything up to that point looked so legit that I almost fell for it. And so it just shows you how you got to really be prepared and on guard.
Well, William, I want to tell you that I'm glad you didn't fall for it. I truly am. And you did the exact right thing you need to do. I mean, that's the thing about scams. Fraudsters, if it looked like it was a scam, you wouldn't fall for it. So they need to make sure that things look exactly as good as they need to get you to give them money or your information. And how do you tell that it's a scam? So what you do is exactly what you did. You started to notice that things were wrong. Something in the back of your head said, hey, let me ask a couple of questions. That's exactly what you need to do. Too many people out there are scared to speak up. They just accept what they're being told. You cannot do that these days in this life. You can't, because there's too many criminals out there. You have to ask questions. You have to approach everything with a cautious mind. Trust but verify. Trust but verify. Hey, are you in the United States? Well, of course I am in the United States. Why would I not be in the United States? Are you sure that you're in the United States? Where in the United States are you? And you start asking questions. And you ask these pointed questions. And if it sounds too good to be true, it is. If they're asking money to give you money, probably not. So, but I'm really glad, William. I truly am. I'm really glad that you did not fall for that. You, sir, are an outstanding human being, and keep up the great work out there.
Yes, thank you so much for that call. AARP always comes armed with fantastic tips, and I know you get a lot of the tips from actual firsthand experience, those calls that come in on the AARP fraud helpline. Mark, tell us a little bit about some of the common calls that you've had just over the past few weeks.
Well, I'll just say that, William, first of all, you're not alone in getting these sweepstakes prize and lottery scams. And Publishers Clearinghouse is commonly the most typical name associated with these types of scams. As I've been doing this work, they always rank in the top 5 types of scams reported to the helpline. So getting these scams and always understanding that paying money to get money, just like Brett said, is always going to be a scam. In addition to those sweepstakes prize and lottery scams, it's really important to realize that there's lots of employment fraud that's going on, being reported to our helpline, and lots of Amazon imposter scams that are also being reported to the helpline. So those are 3 really important ones that folks should watch out for. And just know that if you're getting those scams, you're not the only one, because they're the most common scams being reported to us as well.
That's great. And our next caller is a winner, Lori from Iowa. Congratulations. And you know what? AARP is even going to cover the shipping, so they're not going to ask for any money for that Yeti cooler that you just won. Congratulations for that. Go right ahead with your question tonight.
Yay, that's so exciting. Thank you. Hey, my father recently had one of my children advertise for him on Facebook an item that he wanted to sell. And people called him to say, hey, we want to buy your car. And then they started their little scheme to scam him, where they suddenly were asking, okay, can we have you shipped the car to us? And if you ship it to us, what is your bank account number? And I was sitting at his house thinking, oh my gosh, these are scammers, and he doesn't hear well enough to understand that he's getting taken so big. And, they asked all the right questions, and next thing you know, if I hadn't been at his house, he was getting his checkbook out, and his bank account would have been right there for them to draw all of it out. Very
well,
scary.
and you're right. It is very scary. But, here's the thing. You did something that I have been talking about for the past couple of years, and that is you looked out for the people that are in your environment. And that's something that we have to do. This idea that it's every man or woman for themselves, that's not correct. It's not. We have to look after each other. We have to take care of each other, because I want to tell you, on the criminal side, and I have been on the criminal side, criminals look after each other. They share and exchange information. They teach each other how to commit crimes. I know, I'm the guy who started this stuff. What you did is exactly what we need to do, being on the good side of the fence. We need to look after those people who need to be looked after. Typically a scam like that, and that's an extremely common scam. It's been around for years. It's an extremely common scam, and it works. It works because, you've got an item for sale. You're trying to get rid of it. You're not thinking about it. You put it on, Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or something like that, or eBay or something like that, and you get a response. Somebody wants to buy it. Well, they're willing to give you exactly what you're asking for, and they're saying, well, I'm out of state, though. I'm out of state. Can you ship it to me? Well, you don't think about anything like that. You don't think about that because he's going to send you a check. The check's going to be fake, or the check's going to be more than what you're trying to sell the thing for, but you don't think about that. And that's the thing about scams. Scams work because the scammer gets the potential victim to put away reason and act out of emotion. And the emotion doesn't always have to be fear. Sometimes it can be happiness. Or relief. I am glad I've gotten rid of this item. I never thought I'd sell that before. Heck yeah, man. I'll ship it to you all day, every day. But you were there. You stopped it. I'm so proud of you for doing that. And I am so jealous that you've got that Yeti cooler.
Hey, we're giving away 4 more, so that leaves a line open for you tonight. And Brett's right. Maybe you can help someone avoid becoming the victim of fraud by sharing your story. 877-283-7570. Mark, let's bring you into the conversation. What did you want to add there?
Yeah, I just want to say, Lori, kudos to you for helping to save your dad in that situation. And I just want to say that in terms of the different types of scams that are reported to our helpline, we do hear lots about cars, we hear RVs, even tractors involved in these types of sales situations. So when you are engaging to sell something or buy something on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, just like Brett said, you really have to be cautious. And anything that sounds too good to be true or out of the ordinary you should proceed very cautiously.
All right, we are going to go back to the phones. David from Washington joins us this evening. Go right ahead, David.
Hello. First of all, thank you for your show, and thank you for your gentlemen that are participating with you tonight. And I live where I do not have internet. The internet is expensive where I live, and I'm on a limited income, so I do not have it. And I'd like to know, how do I get a hold of credit bureaus in order to freeze my credit checks? I will soon be collecting Social Security, which will increase my income, and I want to protect it as much as possible. So how can you help me get a hold of each of the credit bureaus by phone if you know that information for me?
Sure. So, and David, thank you for your question. That's a very good question, because a lot of people don't realize that a lot of Americans out there, they don't have internet. Maybe they can't afford it. Maybe they're in an area that is just not internet ready. Your question, credit freezes. So credit freezes became free September 18th, 2018. And that was a wonderful thing that took place. What you have to do, as you said, you have to call all 3 credit bureaus. That's TransUnion, Equifax, Experian. Now, you can look up the numbers. I do not have those numbers in front of me. Jeff may. I know the Fraud Watch team does. So you can contact Fraud Watch, and they will give you those numbers and help walk you through that as well. you're also welcome to reach out to me personally, and I will walk you through that and help you on that as well. And I'm sure that Jeff has something to add onto that.
All right. And Mark, why don't you give our viewers the Fraud Watch helpline just so they can jot it down and have it whenever they need it?
Yeah, David, thanks so much for that question. It's a really common one that comes into our Fraud Watch Network helpline. We have folks who are very happy to help you get all those numbers because we don't have them all just at the tip of our fingers right now. But the phone number is 877-908-3360. Again, it's 877-908-3360. Give us a call, and we're happy to help you place that credit freeze.
All right, we're going to go back to the phones, this time to the Sunflower State. Robin of Kansas joins the conversation. Go right ahead, Robin.
Hello, how are you all this evening? I have a question. There is a new thing, at least in this area, about we get text message. Oh, your Netflix account is frozen, and please call or click on this website. And I get 6 or 7 of them a day, and it's, or you have a refund coming, $600 or $700. Same thing. At the bottom, there's always an HTTP. What are these? What is at the end of that HTTP? What are they doing? They're using dialers to send these out because the number that they use, when you dial it back, it's always, this is out of order, so I know that's a dialer. But what happens if you click on that HTTP?
Robin, that is an excellent question. So what that attack is, that's called a vishing attack. That's V-I-S-H-I-N-G, a vishing attack. Different than a phishing attack. So a phishing attack is taking place on your laptop or your computer. Vishing is by your cell phone. And it is exactly what you said, is that it's that text message that arrives that says, hey, there's a problem with your account. We're going to charge you something. You need to change your login, whatever the message is. And then it has a link that you click on your phone that takes you somewhere or does something. To answer what it does, you need to understand what a criminal is looking for. A criminal is only looking for one of 4 things: information, access, data, or cash. So they're looking for you to click on something so they can install maybe some sort of malware on your phone, or maybe to get access to your phone in order to get your bank account numbers, your credentials to log into your bank account or some other account, something like that, or to steal from you. So that's what a vishing attack is. And the answer to how do you avoid that is you don't click the link. That's it. And anytime you get an unsolicited message, and it's not just on the phone, if you get anything unsolicited, if you get a knock on the door, if you get an email, if you get a text message, if you get something that pops up on your computer that you've not asked for, any of these things that you've not asked for that are unsolicited, you do not respond to them. You don't answer questions. You don't pick up the phone. If somebody calls you on the phone and says, hey, I need this, I'm with the Social Security Administration, that's unsolicited. Do not respond to anything unsolicited, no matter how you receive it. And that's the answer for how you avoid a vishing attack.
And now we all know what that is called as well. I had no idea it was a vishing attack. So interesting. Okay, we're going to go back to the phones, and our next caller is a winner. Congratulations, Rita of Michigan. You're on with our fraud experts from AARP. Go right ahead.
Hi, and thank you very much for allowing me to be a winner. I have a story that is a terrible story, but I've overcome the situation. But it was when Facebook first came out, and I was fairly new to the web at the time, and I was just on Facebook looking around, and this guy came on and he started talking to me, and I didn't want to talk to him in the beginning. I said, I don't know you. I'm not going to talk to you. He was a very handsome man. And so finally I started talking to him, and we just chatted and just kept chatting. And eventually, after time went by, I fell in love with him. And he had told me he lived in Illinois. He said that he had a daughter and he was working abroad. And he said that he wanted to come and visit me when he come back to the States. And I said, okay, you know, I was fairly new to the internet. I trusted everybody. I'm a Christian. I figured everybody's going to be like I am, you know, have good morals and values. And well, to make a long story short, he told me after time, he said his daughter had gotten sick overseas and he didn't have insurance over there. And he wanted to know if I could help him because he said she was dying. Well, naturally, you know, it was a beautiful little girl. I love kids. I wasn't going to let anything happen to that little girl. And I sent money. I started sending money. And I kept telling him, look, I can't keep sending money like this. You know, I got to the point where I was on the verge of losing my apartment. I wasn't paying my bills. Every time I would get my Social Security check, I would send it over there to him to try to save that little girl's life. Well, then I ended up contacting one of my friends that went to the church that I did, and he had worked at a lawyer's office. And he said, yeah, because the guy had sent me a check, he said he was paying me back. Well, I ran the check through my bank thinking that he was telling me the truth, and he wanted me to send him money. I sent him money out of the so-called check that I had gotten, and ended up I was overdrawn in my checking account. Plus, I was bankrupt from sending him all that money. Come to find out, it was a Nigerian scam. And it happened all through Western Union. I did file a complaint with Western Union, and praise God, I ended up recovering a lot of my money.
Well, Robin, the first thing I want to say is thank you for sharing that, because a lot of people would not tell the story that you've just told. And it's happened, that exact story that you've told has happened to a lot of people. And I also want you to understand that the way these scams work, it's about building trust. You're talking to the criminal that you dealt with, that Nigerian criminal, not a hacker, not a nice guy, just a straight criminal. That criminal, this is what he does as a career. You're not the first person he's victimized. Unfortunately, you won't be the last person that he's victimized. But by you sharing the story, people start to understand how these scams work and some of the damage that these scams cause. So I want to thank you for sharing the story. The second thing I want to say is that the problem with scams is you take a Nigerian or someone that's in Ghana or Egypt or something like that. Just a little bit of money is a lot over there. So it's worth it to someone like that to talk to you for however long it takes to get you to trust them. And that's the problem. That's the problem is you're dealing with people that understand that trust is essential when it comes to scamming someone. If you don't trust the scammer, you're not going to give them cash or access or information or data. So they have to build that trust. And that's the problem that exists with all these scams. We as people, and it's a very, very easy thing to fall for these stories. You know, you have hope. We all do. I have hope. You know, and you're not to blame for what happened. The only person to blame is that criminal in Nigeria. You're not to blame at all. I mean, you know that you have a good heart. The only thing you wanted to do was help that person's daughter. You thought he had a daughter that was in a bad situation, and you wanted to help. There's nothing wrong with that. I want you to understand that. There's nothing wrong with that. All right? The only person who did anything wrong here is that criminal in Nigeria. All right? And I'm very glad, I truly am, I'm very glad that you got some of your money back. I truly am. There's not really any advice I can give you there. I'm just saying that I'm thankful that you told your story. To people out there, I would say, please, please pay attention to Robin's story. Understand the way these scams happen. It's about a criminal building trust, and it's important. We had that first caller, I think his name was William. We had that first caller that started asking these questions, and you have to do that. You have to. These days, it's trust but verify. I do believe we need to trust people. I do. I don't think we can live our lives in fear and paranoia. But we have to verify these things as well. And Robin, I mean, you did the best job you possibly could. You're not to blame at all for any of this stuff. I'm truly heartbroken that you went through that. I truly am. I'm glad you came out the other side. I am. I'm glad you got your money back. And that's really the only thing I can say is, just don't let this criminal's actions color your perception of other people. And I don't think you've done that, but I would say that to everybody out there. Just because you're victimized by one criminal, don't let that change your opinion of everybody else or every other situation. Okay?
We salute your bravery. Thank you for sharing your experience. You probably helped someone who's out there watching on national television this evening, so thank you for that. And what are your thoughts on that call, Mark?
Yeah, I just wanted to echo Brett's words and applauding Rita for sharing her story, because that's a very difficult one to tell. And I'll tell you, as part of the Fraud Watch Network helpline, we really have started to hear more of those stories like that. And we understand that sometimes when you're done with the scam and you realize there's a scam, you actually might emotionally not be back together. And so recently we put together a support program for victims of different types of frauds and scams, lots of romance scams, lots of sweepstakes scams, different types of scams that might have an emotional pull that people can participate in for free. And you can visit aarp.org/FraudWatch Network to find out more about the AARP victim support programs that are really just a way to connect with other fraud victims and tell your story and hopefully move on from the scam that you dealt with. So Rita and other people like you who are out there who dealt with the same type of scam, know that resources out there for you.
All right. Fred from Wyoming is up next. You are on with the fraud experts from AARP. Go right ahead.
Yeah. I've had so many calls every day, and most of them I don't answer, but so many of them come through on local numbers or numbers from towns where, like, my doctor lives or my dentist or periodontist or, orthopedic doctor, all kinds of things like that. And some of them I've answered, and they'll say, "Is this Fred Dappin?" And I'll say, "Yes." And they say, "Is your Social Security number?" And they'll rattle off my Social Security number, and I'm just flabbergasted, because at that time I realized that, oh, this is a scam. This isn't anybody real, and I'll just hang up. But how do they get my Social Security number? And the other thing I'm always curious about is, how does Verizon enable these people to get these local numbers and call me with fraud? I feel like they're enabling some of these criminals.
Enabling is an interesting word, and I can't disagree with you on that, Fred. But let's take both of your questions. The first is, how do criminals get your information? And I kind of addressed that when I talked about the first scam of identity theft. Today, everyone's information is available. I can buy your Social Security number online right now for about $3. I get your Social Security number, I get your date of birth, $3. That's on a criminal database. So if you think about it, just last year, as I said, we had over 2,900 breaches, 57 billion records compromised just last year. So everyone's information is readily available. Just because a criminal may have, a breach may have exposed your Social Security number 3 years ago, doesn't mean that criminals threw your Social Security number away if they didn't use it 3 years ago. Those numbers still exist online. So think of it, the reason you may not have been victimized until recently is because it's like the worst lottery in the world. There's so much information out there and not enough criminals to use it yet, but that day is coming. You're getting these phone calls now because criminals have finally pulled up your number. They finally looked at your Social Security number. Now, Verizon, fortunately, there are some rules coming into place that say that these phone numbers that you're receiving, these kind of spoofed phone numbers that really don't exist, they're local, and if you've traveled to an area, you'll start getting phone numbers from an area code, or you get phone numbers from the area code of your dentist or something like that. That's coming to an end. That is, it's coming to an end. The FCC has started to institute rules that's going to end. We can only hope it happens soon. Why hasn't Verizon stopped it before? Well, there's a lot of profit to be made. And it's not just Verizon. It's every phone provider has had that same issue. There's profit to be made by that. What you have to do, though, is you have to protect yourself. And you've been doing a good thing. When you see that phone number, if you don't recognize the phone number, the easiest thing is don't pick up. Don't pick up. Let them leave a message. All right. If you do pick up and you start to hear that on the other end of the line, that unsolicited call that I talked about, where someone's talking about your Social Security number, they're rattling off your Social Security number. Don't respond. Hang up. Don't respond. You see this on the news or on YouTube all the time about these people that respond to scammers, that play with scammers. You do not want to play with a criminal. This is their career. This is what they do for a living. You don't want them to take the time out to really start to notice you. So hang up. Don't answer the phone. That's the answer to that. And realize that your data is available. So what do? You do a credit freeze. You contact all 3 credit bureaus, and you put a credit freeze in place with all 3 bureaus. It's free. It's been free since 2018. Please do that. If you don't know how, contact the Fraud Watch team. They will walk you through that.
Wow. Yeah, just incredible perspective that you bring to the table, Brett. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you to AARP for doing a show like this. We're going to go to our next winner now. It's Roy, and he's from the Hawkeye State. Thanks for joining us from Iowa, Roy. Go right ahead.
Is this Roy or Wally?
Roy, is this Roy that we're talking to tonight? Could be Wally.
I said my name was Wally.
Okay, Wally. They said Roy, but you know what? Go right ahead, Wally. We apologize for the confusion. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, I'm in the nursing home in Western Iowa recuperating from some surgery, and I listened to TV, and it's flooded with calls. Call this number for Medicare, and you get all this free ride to the doctor, free dentist, free this, free that, and then you're going to get $100 and some back on your Social Security check. And I'm wondering if the $100 and some is the premium for Medicare, and if it is, are you still enrolled in Medicare if you accept the $100 and some?
Well, Wally or Roy, I'll call you Wally because you said Wally, and that's what we're going to call you. So, Wally, I don't think that there's anything out there that's going to interfere with your Medicare benefits. All right, I truly don't. As far as these offers that come online or on the television that you're seeing, I would be suspect. Now they're on the television, so more often than not, you're going to get something. But be aware of these offers. All right. If you have a question on one of these offers, okay, if you have a question, reach out to the AARP Fraud Watch team. I promise you that if there's anything suspect there, that the Fraud Watch team is aware of it. They will answer those questions for you, and they will make sure you're protected and that you're not taken advantage of.
Great. You know, that would be a great call for the Fraud Watch helpline, wouldn't you say, Mark?
Most definitely. And it's a great question, Wally. We get lots of questions about Medicare as part of the Fraud Watch Network helpline. And I would say one of the first things that we're going to do for you, and it's good to know that there's a program like this in every state called the State Health Insurance Assistance Program. And so we direct folks to SHIP, and that's the acronym for it, for help navigating their Medicare options. And so in this instance, we're going to direct you to SHIP and not to the paid advertisers on TV. And so I know in Iowa, they have a really great SHIP program. and they would be happy to help you out in navigating any Medicare decisions that you make.
All right, our next call is Kenneth from Texas. Thanks for joining us, Kenneth. Go right ahead.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. Hey, I got a question. I get phone calls, I get texts, I get letters, I get everything you can imagine on wanting to buy my house. And when they call me, I have to answer because that's the way I make my living is by, I'm a service individual, so I have to call because it might be a customer. What do I do with these people?
Well, Kenneth, let me say first that I love Texas. I fell in love with Texas. You won't believe this, but I fell in love with Texas doing prison time in Texas. That's how much I like Texas. And I'm not even kidding about that. I love Texas. I was telling my wife, I was like, hey, I need to move to Austin if nothing else. Now, I served out in West Texas, but I love Texas. Now, that being said, the question becomes, do you want to sell your house? That's the question. Now, if you don't want to sell your house, don't. But if you do want to sell your house, I mean, these guys, I'm going to be honest with you now. The housing market has exploded. It has. It takes 90 days to order windows if you're building a house. You've got to wait for everything. If you go down and get a piece of plywood, instead of it costing $10, it's costing $100 all of a sudden. So our house here, I'm in Birmingham, Alabama. Our house has went from being valued at $229 to $316. $316. It's ridiculous. And if we were to sell it, it would go higher than $316. So these values are up. So it's not surprising that you would be getting phone calls of people wanting to buy your home. They're wanting to buy your home for low dollar and sell it for high dollar. So, if you are wanting to sell your home, what I would say is to reach out to a real estate agent. And that way you get what the proper value is for your home. If you're responding to these calls, if you're interested in selling your house, these calls are typically, they're looking to profit. They're going to buy your house low, they're going to sell it high. So just be advised of that.
Yeah, they may not be fraudsters per se. They might be licensed real estate agents,
Right.
but they can be annoying. So yeah, I think you should just maybe have a go-to phrase as well, like not interested in selling, thank you. But there's a limited inventory in this country. You're right, Brett. On that note, we're going to pause for break for a moment. What questions do you have for our fraud experts tonight? Have you or a family member been targeted by a fraudster? If so, we want to hear your story. We still have Yeti coolers to give away. Give us a call, 877-783-7570. You might just be a winner. We're going to be right back. This is such a great show, and it's because of your calls. Thank you. Stay with us.
Hi, we're the Oak Ridge Boys, and you're watching AARP Live.
Oh, we love the Oak Ridge Boys. Welcome back to Rural America Live with our friends from AARP. We still have Yeti coolers to give away. We're going to go right to the phones, and our next caller is a winner. It's Angie from Arkansas. Thanks for joining us tonight, Angie. Go right ahead.
Yay! My son passed away, and a person put a home loan on his credit report for $50,000.
You know, Angie, you might want to step away from your television. There's just a little bit of a delay. It might help us hear you just a little bit better.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Perfect. I'm sorry to hear about the passing of your son. What happened after that?
Thank you. How would I go about going after these people? And since my son is no longer alive, but I'm his next of kin.
Sure. So, Angie, I appreciate the question. I truly do. And that's not uncommon that people are taken advantage of once they pass away. What you do is you contact the authorities. You also contact the bank that handled the loan, and you inform them that, hey, this is an improper, this is fraud. They will take care of it at that point. They may have you fill out an affidavit or something like that. You'll file a police report. They will handle it from there. Right now, you don't pursue anything. You let the authorities do that. They will take care of that for you. All right. And again, I'm like Christina. I am very sorry to hear about the passing of your son.
Yeah, that's terrible that fraudsters would go after people sometimes in their weakest moments because they know for just that reason that people can be vulnerable. So our thoughts and prayers are definitely with you tonight, and congratulations on that Yeti cooler, Angie. Okay, next up is Earl from Oklahoma. Thanks for joining us. Go right ahead, Earl.
Good afternoon. Our fraud started with our internet provider sending an email to us. We're both past 80, recovering from COVID. My wife spent about 2 weeks in the hospital, and she just out of the hospital a few days when she got this email. She was checking her emails, and it said that her bank account had been scammed, and so they gave her a phone number to call from somebody that was helping at the bank to protect our account. So she called. Well, that was mistake number 2. I wasn't here. And she actually trusted that guy to go to 30 miles away to a Lowe's store, buy 4 $500 gift cards, and call him with that information. When I got home and found her still on the phone, I told her to get off the phone. That was a scam, but it already happened. We lost $2,000 just that quick, but it all started with our email from a email provider, or internet provider. So we didn't know you couldn't trust him, but now we do.
Well, Earl, I want to thank you for sharing that story. And what happened to your wife is not uncommon. It's a very common scam, and it's a very successful scam. You realized it was a scam, and the reason that you did realize it, one of the reasons that happens is because you were on the outside looking in. All right, your wife was in the moment, and a scammer, that's their career. That's what they do. They understand human psychology enough to understand that, hey, I need to get your wife to stop thinking rationally, to start acting out of emotion. All right, and that's the way scams work. That's why they succeed. For people out there that this may happen to, if you do go the route, if you have went as far as to give gift cards, to go and get gift cards, if you've given the gift card numbers to the criminal, if you can get it quick enough, sometimes you can contact the gift card company and have the cards canceled. All right. That's one thing to remember. The big thing is to understand that government organizations never ask for gift cards. And you've heard this before. Everyone's heard this before. You need to get a buddy. You need to, if you're in the moment, in a call, try to find someone to ask about it or hang up and call them back, something like that. But it's important to be able to disconnect or to rely on an outside source to tell you that, hey, this is a scam. All right. And sometimes you may need to call Fraud Watch. If you don't have a buddy, pick up the phone, call Fraud Watch. They will tell you, hey, no, don't do that. All right.
Yeah, it's a great resource, the Fraud Watch helpline. And we're going to give that number to you one more time at the end of the show. We want to bring in our next winner. Bruce from Florida joins the conversation. Thanks for joining us, Bruce. Congratulations. You are the new owner of a Yeti cooler. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I told her, Christina, that I haven't fallen for the fraud, but I've been consistently getting a fraud on Amazon, and this is Amazon, and you get this $500 item charged to you and going to put on your credit card. If confirm that or don't confirm it, and I thought for a while, somewhere or another, I might have had an old account that was existing there, and I called Amazon's customer service back in about 4, 5, 6 months ago and said, we don't have you as an account in your name, and we don't have any of your credit cards. And I'm just, I'm getting a 1 or 2, maybe sometimes 3 of those calls a week. And I want to quit getting them. As I'm smart enough. I told Christina I was a fairly old dude, but I hadn't gone crazy yet. I'm wise enough to see a scam, and hopefully all the time. But in this case, I do. But
Brett, what do you hear about Amazon scams?
I get the exact same text message and email about 3 times a week. About 3 times a week. And it's the reason it succeeds, it gets you out of thinking reasonably. You see the email or the chat, hey, we're going to charge you $900 on Amazon. $900? Then you look at your wife, hey, did you order something on Amazon for $900? And she's like, no, I didn't order anything on Amazon. So you contact Amazon, and that's what they want you to do. They want you to get out of thinking reasonably and rationally, start acting out of emotion. Hey, no, I don't want to lose $900. So you contact the number.
That's right.
Or you respond to the email. You did the exact right thing. You understand, hey, I didn't order that. No, I'm not going to respond to this. Now, unfortunately, you're not going to stop getting those messages because they don't really cost anything to send out. But you're doing the right thing by not responding.
Oh, what a smart guy. And you know what? I just want to thank the 2 gentlemen for joining us tonight, Mark Federhoff and Brett Johnson. This has been such a fantastic informational show. I know you helped a lot of people this evening. I want to make sure we give out the AARP Fraud Watch helpline one more time. It's 877-908-3360. One more time, that's 877-908-3360. Remember, if you can spot a scam, you can stop a scam, and you can report scams at that number as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Wishing you a beautifully blessed evening.